You take it every morning. Sometimes it's a capsule, sometimes a powder stirred into your smoothie. You've been told it's essential, especially after 60. It's in your cereal box, your multivitamin, even in those heart-healthy bars you bought because they had a picture of a smiling elderly couple on the label. For years, you've trusted it. Your doctor might have mentioned it in passing. The commercials said it supports memory, heart function, and blood pressure. So, without question, you made it part of your life, but now something feels off. Maybe you've been more tired during the day. Your steps feel heavier. That brief wave of dizziness when you stand up, you used to brush it off. But lately, it's more frequent. Sometimes you feel a strange pressure behind your eyes or a pulsing in your temples at night. You told yourself it's just part of aging. Everyone slows down after 60, right? That's the lie this vitamin lets you believe, because while it's marketed as essential, recent studies show that in older adults, this nutrient when taken daily in high amounts can silently inflame blood vessels in your brain. It's subtle at first. You don't feel a sharp pain. You don't fall down. Instead, your arteries begin to stiffen. Microtears appear in the delicate walls of your brain's blood supply. Inflammation spreads, blood thickens, and if left unchecked, a clot forms. And it only takes one to steal your speech, your movement, or your life. The most alarming part, this isn't a rare reaction. Researchers from a major European neurology journal found that this exact supplement in people over 60 can triple the risk of ischemic stroke when consumed consistently, especially alongside common medications like blood pressure pills or statins. It's not just what you're taking, it's how your aging body responds to it now. Your liver processes things slower, your vessels are more fragile, your brain is less tolerant to inflammation, but none of that is mentioned on the label. No one warns you that what once helped your heart at 40 may now endanger your brain at 70, and yet it's everywhere. In your home right now, in your kitchen cabinet, in that bottle you just restocked from the pharmacy last week. So what should you do? That's where this story turns, because for every risk, there's also a correction. A way to reverse course, to stop feeding the fire and start cooling the system down. But first, you need to see what this supplement is doing, not in theory, but inside your own body, in the patterns you've been ignoring. Pay attention to how your head feels after breakfast. Notice how your vision sometimes blurs slightly. At night, ask yourself why your balance has shifted, why your memory feels foggier. These are not just normal aging signs. They may be signals, gentle, persistent signals that your body is reacting to something you believed was safe, and you're not alone. Thousands of older adults are unknowingly making the same mistake. They're swallowing this harmless capsule daily, trusting it to protect them, when in reality, it may be setting the stage for something far more dangerous than aging. It's not too late to change course, but you have to start by questioning what you trust the most. Before we continue with the video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from and what time it is there, and share your story because I, or maybe someone else, might be able to help you with your pain. You've seen it printed in bold letters: supports brain health, promotes heart function, essential after 60. These claims are plastered across labels in the pharmacy aisle, dressed up with gold seals and scientific-looking fonts that whisper assurance. And when you see a supplement presented like that, you trust it. After all, if it's just a vitamin, how dangerous could it be? But what happens when the very thing marketed to protect your mind is slowly stirring up chaos inside it? Let's talk about what's really going on. This vitamin, which we'll leave unnamed for now, isn't inherently evil. In younger bodies, in small doses, it can even be beneficial. But in older adults, the story changes completely. Because after 60, your blood chemistry shifts. Your arteries become more vulnerable. Your brain's ability to regulate inflammation is less efficient. And this vitamin, especially when taken daily in synthetic form, can tip the scale from balance to breakdown. Here's how. The nutrient in question has a known effect of increasing the concentration of certain amino acids in the bloodstream, particularly homocysteine, a compound directly linked to vascular damage when left unchecked. That means the more of this vitamin you ingest, the more you may elevate this silent thread inside your arteries. And guess where those arteries are most sensitive? Inside your brain. You might notice it in subtle ways. A slight headache after a meal. A sense of fuzziness in your thinking. Words that don't come as quickly as they used to. None of it feels urgent enough to sound the alarm. That's what makes it so dangerous. This isn't a heart attack. That knocks you down. It's a slow burn that weakens your defenses over weeks, months, even years. Scientists at the University of Rotterdam published a long-term study tracking elderly patients who took daily supplements of this specific vitamin. What they found shocked even the researchers. While blood levels appeared normal, MRI scans showed increased signs of microvascular damage in the brain, small, silent injuries to the white matter that accumulate over time and raise the risk of cognitive decline and stroke. You don't see that on the bottle. You don't hear that in the ads. Because the supplement industry doesn't sell warnings, it sells hope. And you, like millions of others, bought into it not out of ignorance, but out of trust. And here's the real paradox. The food form of this vitamin, the kind found naturally in leafy greens, seeds, and eggs, doesn't seem to cause the same damage. It's the synthetic version, isolated and mass-produced, that poses the greatest risk to your aging body. Why? Because your metabolism can't regulate it the same way anymore. It absorbs too much too fast and stores it in places it shouldn't, like your brain's vascular lining. So, what can you do? Start by turning the bottle around. Look for words like fortified, added, or synthetic. If it's something you've been taking out of habit, reconsider. Just because something is common doesn't mean it's safe. Especially when your biology is changing with age, your brain deserves clarity, not inflammation. It deserves real nourishment, not artificial overload. You don't have to give up on taking care of yourself, you just have to be smarter about what care really means now. It rarely starts with something loud. No sharp pain, no dramatic fall, no slurred words in the mirror. Instead, it begins with moments you almost ignore. You reach for a glass of water and feel your hand tremble slightly. You stand up too quickly and the room sways for a second longer than usual. You walk into a room and forget why not once, but 3 or 4 times this week. These are not just harmless signs of aging. For many over 60, these are the quiet whispers of a system under pressure of blood struggling to flow freely through. Inflamed pathways of tiny blockages forming where there used to be smooth circulation. One of the earliest warnings is transient numbness. It might be in your fingertips or just one side of your face. It only lasts a few seconds, maybe a minute. It's easy to dismiss. But this fleeting numbness, especially when it happens more than once, is often the first sign that blood is not reaching certain areas of your brain as it should. These are micro interruptions, and they build up quietly until one day they don't stop. Then comes the dizziness, not just from standing too quickly, but a kind that feels disorienting. Like your body moves slower than your thoughts. Your vision might go fuzzy for a breath or two, and you hold onto a chair to steady yourself. You tell yourself it's dehydration or fatigue, but what you don't realize is that thickened blood, inflamed vessels, and subtle clots are making it harder for oxygen to reach the parts of your brain responsible for balance and coordination. And finally, the most underestimated sign, sudden memory lapses. You don't forget entire events, not yet, but you search longer for words. You struggle to remember names you've known for decades. You walk into the kitchen and stand still, staring. These moments feel like nothing, but they are everything, because the brain doesn't lose power all at once. It dims in small places, slowly, almost mercifully, until it reaches a point where one blockage tips the scale and everything changes. What ties all of these signs together? Circulation. The health of your brain is built on a foundation of consistent blood flow. And when that flow is disrupted not by age, but by what you put into your body thinking it was healthy, the results can be devastating. The vitamin you've been taking is not neutral. If it increases homocysteine or interacts poorly with other medications, it may create the perfect storm for these early warnings to begin. The most dangerous part isn't the symptoms. It's the silence between them, the long stretches where you feel almost normal, unaware that your brain is being starved one small vessel at a time. Imagine this, waking up and not feeling that pressure behind your eyes, standing up without holding the wall, remembering your grandson's name before he finishes saying grandpa. These are not fantasies. They're signs of a brain working as it should. And protecting that your clarity, your independence begins with noticing these 3 warnings before they become headlines in your medical file. It begins by understanding that these aren't coincidences. They are clues. And they're asking you to act now. You walk into the store. A wall of supplements stares back at you, each bottle promising something vital. One says heart health, another brain function, and a third shouts fortified for seniors. The colors are calming. The names sound scientific. You pick one with a gold sticker that says doctor recommended. You believe you've made a smart choice, but behind that friendly packaging, there's a truth most people over 60 never hear. These vitamins are built for profit, not precision. The one you've been taking, the same one advertised on television as essential, costs pennies to manufacture in synthetic form. That's why it's everywhere. Cereal, milk, juice, nutrition bars, multivitamins. It's not added because your body desperately needs it. It's added because it's cheap, shelf-stable, and makes the product look healthier without actually being better for you. And here's what they never say: the synthetic version is not processed by your aging body the way natural sources are. It's absorbed too quickly, dumped into your bloodstream in a spike your body wasn't designed to handle. And for someone over 60, someone whose blood vessels are already more fragile, whose brain is more sensitive to inflammation, this creates a slow, steady storm. A study from the Journal of Nutrition and Aging examined over 5,000 seniors who took high doses of this synthetic vitamin daily. Their risk of stroke, particularly ischemic stroke, increased up to 300% when compared to those who got their nutrients from whole foods alone. These weren't unhealthy seniors. These were people like you taking supplements to stay ahead, and they were unknowingly walking into danger. What's worse, many of these products are paired with other risk enhancers. Did you know that this same vitamin, when combined with calcium-fortified products, can actually increase arterial stiffness? Or that when mixed with low-dose aspirin, it can interfere with platelet function and contribute to clotting? These combinations are everywhere and no one warns you. Why? Because there's no regulation forcing them to. In the US, the supplement industry operates in a gray zone. Labels don't need to prove long-term safety. And as long as a product doesn't cause immediate harm, it's allowed to stay on shelves even if it slowly chips away at your health over years, and so you keep buying it. You trust the smiling faces on the box. You trust that added vitamins means added health. But those labels don't know your name. They don't see your grandkids. They don't care if your balance is off or your memory fades. They just care that you keep buying. Now imagine this: one quiet afternoon, you collapse. No warning. A clot you never felt has cut off the blood supply to part of your brain. You survive, but you're not the same. Speech slurred, left arm weaker, vision blurrier. You ask yourself how this happened. After all, you were doing everything right. You were taking your vitamins. That's the moment you realize no one ever told you the whole story, but you're hearing it now. And that means you're no longer helpless, because understanding the risk is the first step toward taking back control. Not from fear, but from clarity. There's a moment after the fear, after the questions, when you realize something powerful. You don't need to live in the shadow of a stroke. You don't need to be trapped between silence and symptoms. Because for every harmful habit that's been sold to you, there is a natural correction. A shift in what you consume, and more importantly, in how you see your own health. Let's talk about the nutrient your brain actually wants. It's not synthetic. It doesn't come in a fluorescent bottle with a flashy logo. It comes from the earth whole, simple and powerful. Found in foods like salmon, chia seeds, walnuts, and flax, omega-3 fatty acids are one of the most researched, most trusted natural compounds when it comes to brain health and inflammation control. But it's not just about eating more fish. It's about understanding why this compound works, especially in people over 60. While synthetic vitamins often spike inflammation by disrupting your blood chemistry, omega-3s do the opposite. They act as biological mediators, calming the immune system, thinning the blood naturally, and reinforcing the elasticity of your arteries. Where synthetic supplements cause rigidity and pressure buildup, omega-3s promote flexibility, smooth flow, and protection against clots. In clinical trials, elderly patients who increased their intake of omega-3s through food or purified oils saw significant reductions in key stroke risk markers, lower triglycerides, decreased arterial plaque buildup, and improved cognitive performance, especially in memory retention and verbal recall. These aren't vague outcomes. They're measurable, peer-reviewed results, but here's what makes them especially important for you. Omega-3s help your body do what it was designed to do, not override it with artificial stimulation. They don't flood your bloodstream. They integrate, they restore, and you don't need to overhaul your diet or chase exotic trends to start. You can begin with 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed added to your breakfast, a handful of walnuts in the afternoon, a few servings of sardines or salmon each week. These small actions, repeated daily, do more than nourish. They protect. Now imagine this scene. You wake up and stretch your arms without pain. You walk down the hall with steady feet. You read your morning devotional and the words are clear, your thoughts sharp. You're present, aware, confident. Not because you took a shortcut, but because you gave your body something real, something your brain recognizes as fuel, not as a foreign chemical to process and fight against, and perhaps most importantly, these changes restore a sense of agency. You're not at the mercy of pharmaceutical marketing. You're not locked into routines that no longer serve your biology. You're choosing what to put into your body based on what it needs now, not what it needed 20 years ago. So ask yourself, when was the last time you made a health decision based on wisdom, not habit? You've already taken the first step by questioning what's being called healthy. Now it's time to replace the danger with something that heals. Not all health comes in a bottle. Sometimes it's found in a seed, a leaf, or a drop of oil. Quiet, natural, and strong enough to protect the most precious part of you, your mind. Your brain is not asking for miracles. It's not begging for expensive treatments or complex routines. It's asking for blood clean, steady, oxygen-rich blood flowing freely to every corner of your mind. Because when circulation is strong, your thoughts are sharper, your balance is steadier, and your life feels more like yours again. And yet, every day, millions of seniors wake up feeling just a little slower, a little foggier, a little more detached, chalking it up to normal aging, when in reality, the problem is fixable. It begins in your blood vessels, and it ends with the choices you make each morning. So what do? You begin with a simple 3-minute routine that has nothing to do with pills and everything to do with motion, breath, and mindset. Step 1. As soon as you wake up, before reaching for your phone or coffee, sit at the edge of your bed. Close your eyes. Take 3 slow, deep breaths through your nose and exhale through your mouth. This tells your nervous system to shift from tension to calm, lowering your blood pressure and reducing vascular stress immediately. Step 2. Move your ankles in gentle circles for 30 seconds each, then do the same with your wrists. These small joint rotations stimulate blood flow back toward your brain, especially important after hours of stillness. Many strokes happen in the early morning, not because of stress, but because your body has been stagnant. Movement wakes up your circulatory system without strain. Step 3. Place your hands flat on your thighs, press down gently, and slowly rise to your feet. As you stand, focus on grounding your feet. Balance is not just physical, it's neurological. You're telling your brain, I'm stable, I'm in control. These are not gimmicks. These are neurological primers, small acts proven to increase blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, memory, and focus. And when combined with a diet that eliminates synthetic vitamin overload and introduces anti-inflammatory nutrients, the results compound daily. You'll start to notice the difference not in dramatic ways, but in beautiful ones. You'll remember where you left your glasses. You'll get through an entire conversation without losing your train of thought. You'll take a walk and feel like your legs are yours again, strong, responsive, balanced. That's not age reversing. That's inflammation retreating. And it's not just about avoiding the worst. It's about reclaiming what age never had the right to steal in the first place: your mental clarity, your independence, your vitality. Now ask yourself this: do you want to spend the next 10 years managing decline? Or do you want to rewrite your trajectory starting today? The path is here, simpler than you thought, not in some secret treatment, but in what you feed your body, how you move it in the morning, and what you choose to trust, because your life doesn't have to shrink as you age. Your energy, your confidence, your purpose, they can all grow. Even now, especially now, you have the tools, you have the knowledge, and you have a body that, despite everything, still wants to protect you. Give it the chance. You were told it was part of aging. The forgetfulness, the fatigue, the off-balance steps. You believed it, like millions of others, because the labels said fortified, the bottles said essential, and the voices in white coats said, keep taking it. But now you see it. The connection between that so-called healthy vitamin and the slow decline you've been experiencing, and that changes everything. Because once you understand the damage that synthetic overload can cause, especially in a brain over 60, you can't unsee it. You can't keep calling it normal when your memory slips or when your head feels foggy after breakfast. You can't keep pretending you're just getting older when your body is quietly reacting to something. It was never built to process this way, but this isn't about guilt. This is about power. The power to look at your daily habits and ask, is this helping me or hurting me? The power to choose real food over fake fixes. The power to give your brain what it actually needs: clean circulation, calm inflammation, natural fuel. You've already begun. Just by learning this truth, you've taken your first step out of the fog. Now imagine tomorrow, you wake up. You move gently. Your thoughts feel lighter. You pour your coffee and remember what day it is without hesitation. You smile, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally feel like yourself again. Present, aware, alive. That's the gift of clarity. Not youth, not magic, just truth. Practice daily. So if this message spoke to you, share it. Someone else might be one pill away from the warning their body is trying to send. And sometimes what saves a life isn't a doctor. It's a moment like this. A quiet shift in awareness that changes everything. You are not fading, you are returning.